Alright guys, so I got the right answers. Numerous people commented on the video that had the right answers, and then Joe called me this morning with the right answer as well. So my thinking was correct, but it was just nice to make sure that you're correct on a critical component like this. So the short side of the rod faces the cam, which means the rod bolts are going to face the driver's side of the engine. Sorry guys, it's cold this morning. That's just, it was -5 this morning when I got down here. It's warming up a little bit now, but okay, so let's look at this. So that's the front. I get all screwed up, man. I'm half-assed dyslexic, so I gotta make damn sure that I'm doing things right. So the short side would go that way, right? So my thinking was correct. These little black marks, they go to the front of the engine. So okay, so normally I don't set this down like this because I'm usually ready to go, but I'm videoing it, so I had to get the camera set up and all that stuff. This goes down. You don't put your anti-polishing ring in yet. This goes down in the recess where the anti-polishing ring goes. And right now I'm not really doing anything in a numerical order. I'm doing it based on companion cylinders. So I just went to the easiest one first, which was at bottom dead center. It was number 2 and 5. So you go this, put this in your where your anti-polishing ring would normally go, and then what I do here is make sure the arrow on the piston is facing the front and the little black marks on the rod are facing the front. And then I kind of cock it sideways like this, then I can get my ring tool set up over that. Okay. And then I like to just climb underneath real quick and just make sure things are lined up and nothing's gonna hit anything, or I'm not gonna have any problems. It's a lot of work going up and down all the time, but it usually pays off. It usually pays off to go through the extra little effort to make sure shit's not gonna get damaged. I will say this, these go in really nice. I mean, sometimes some of these, it seems like you kind of fight them a little bit. So let me get my rod bolts, get them wet with oil. Okay, now let me set you here for now. Let me get a hold of the rod and pull it down onto the journal. So now on ISX, you got to be careful with an ISX because you'll put that, once your rings, once you get it in there, where's the black marks at? Right there. So that should be the way that it goes, right there. But on those ISXs, man, once the rings get compressed and it goes past the anti-polishing ring tool, I mean, it'll just fall. It'll just go boom and hit the rod. So you got to be really careful with those. Okay, so what I'm going to do now being these are already down at bottom dead center, I'm just going to go ahead and torque them where they're at. Okay, rotate it a little bit. I can get the torque wrench on there a little easier. That's good right there. Okay, so let me get these torqued. Okay, so it's just the next step in this is while I'm under there, I roll my next set of companion cylinders down to where the journals are at bottom dead center, which would be 3 and 4. And then go ahead and put my anti-polishing ring into my recess in my liner. Like a so. And pull this tool out, and then I go ahead and put it on number 3. That'll be the next one I'm doing. Okay, so basically it's just repetition now. This part is the long part of the process, really. I mean, to me, it's just time consuming and labor intensive because you're constantly up and down underneath, and that's the part that I can't usually wait till I'm done with, because I get so sick of laying under these things and climbing under them and climbing back out from under them. It just gets old after a while, but it is what it is. I chose this career path. I must keep going. Okay, guys, I had to run and I had to go put that shift tube assembly in that wrench pickup, and I found out what caused the shift tube to fail. It was the shift cable. I got everything together, and the shift cable is really stiff in it. And I said, well, that's obviously what caused all the other problems. So, anyway, I got the head on it, obviously. Got the bolts pre-lubed. First sequence, and these Paccar's got a goofy sequence on them, but let me switch over my torque wrench back to, oops, that's not what I want to do. Let's go to back to foot-pounds. I was on Newton meters, that's what I did the rods to. So 52 foot-pounds is the first sequence. Alright, so what you do is start out in the middle, obviously. Actually, I should have done this one here first, but it's okay. We're gonna basically, this should have been number 1, number 2, then you just kind of work yourself around in a circle. Go right to left. So that should be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you just go kind of over to the next, the next set. This would be number 11. Sometimes I get lost where the hell I'm at. Should just grab a paint marker, shouldn't I? Shouldn't I just grab a paint marker? Maybe I'll do this sequence here. Oh, sometimes this torque wrench gets goofy on me. If you bump the end of the handle, alright, so I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, so I should have already gotten that one, yeah. I'll get my yellow paint marker, and then the next sequence we'll mark them and make it a little bit easier on us so we don't forget anything. We got that one. See, old Bald and Bankrupt, he's back making videos again. I don't think he quite knew what to do. When this whole Ukraine thing broke out and he couldn't go into Russia, which, you know, I liked it when he went into Russia and got to see those people. But I didn't think he quite knew what to do with himself. He had to figure out stuff, and he did. He's a really smart guy. I mean, he basically was studying Spanish and just started learning it because he wanted to go to South American countries, Latin America. So he's been doing some videos here, and I'm really impressed with that guy. I mean, him, and I don't, you know, I'll be honest with you, I don't watch a lot of repair channels. You know, some of you guys do. I don't know, I do this shit all day long, and other things interest me, like that ghost town living there, those old mines and stuff like that really interest me. I mean, I think it's just amazing what those old guys did. And I like that Bald and Bankrupt because he goes to different countries and I get to see the cultures and the way people do things. And I like, you know, the repair channels I do like, actually. I like that Pakistani repair and that, what's it called? Amazing Things. I think it's kind of the same outfit doing it, but I like watching them guys. You know, you could learn something from them guys too. Okay, the next step is 184 foot-pounds, but let me get a paint marker and mark those. My wife always knows when I'm doing an engine job on a truck engine or a bigger tractor engine, because I'll be tired when I come home because I did rods and mains and cylinder head bolts. Okay. put you a mark on there. Oh, something I wanted to tell you guys. Oh, let me get this one torqued. I found with these Paccar heads, as I do more and more of these engines, it is very much in your interest to save you a lot of trouble. Is when you pull the head, if you know you're gonna pull the head, just undo this line, and when you pull the injector, just pull it back far enough, just a little ways, and it'll come out of there. But when you're putting it back in, stick this damn thing in there before you put the head on. Because I mean, it's so much, then you don't have to mess around jacking the cab up and dicking around with that. It sure saves you a lot of grief. Did I smudge the screen when I tried to get that thing to stay still? I don't know. Let me just wipe it off just for due diligence. Oh yeah, I see a big Paccar Skinner mark on there. Can't be having Paccar Skinner marks on there. Alright, where was I? So after this, we go 90 degrees. If I'm not mistaken, then I think you go 90 degrees one more time. We'll have to look at the book and make sure. Seems quite excessive, doesn't it? I used to make my daughter laugh because what brought that whole up is I was pulling on that torque wrench and when my daughter was young, I'd go up to her and I'd say, "Man, my knee sure has got a noisy spot in it." And I would straighten my leg out and I'd fart. And back when she was a little kid, she thought it was hilarious. Okay, that one. And so I got to go over there again. I mean, I guess, I don't know, maybe that day I went over the first time I went over there, it was snowing and the pickup was outside, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I climbed underneath it and saw the shift cable hanging there inside the cab under the steering column. I was like, it needs a shift tube, and I left. I didn't foresee the shift rod and everything inside the tube being broken and all that, so. And I got a sweater on underneath my coveralls, and I'm just about ready to get the old coveralls off and shed this thing, I'm telling you. It's a little warm. Alright guys, I'm gonna shed this Carhartt hoodie that's underneath this thing, and then I just got to keep going. 184 pounds. I'm gonna go double check on the book, but I'm pretty certain you go 90 after this in sequence, and then you do 90 again. So obviously, as you can see, I have the wire harness in there. I've got the 5 of the 6 rockers on these Paccars. Just just listen to me on this. If you haven't done one, just follow the directions in the book. Okay, so you can set these on certain engine positions, because you can tell your engine position underneath where your turning tool is. It'll say 162534 on the flywheel when you're turning it. And these rockers, when the engine's in the right position, they will just sit down on the top of the head and they'll go down just nice and flat. If you get one rocked up like that, it's not on the right position, so then you got to rotate the engine until it falls down to the right position. And just a forewarning, don't try to pull them down with the bolts, because I've done that and I broke a bolt one time, and then I said, well, I guess we'll never do that again. So yeah, just follow the directions in the book. And the books are online, you can download them, they have them in PDF files online. All these people that, I get frustrated, guys, because you know, the modern day era right now, you can find about anything. If you just do a little research and look, you can find the right information on this stuff. It's there. Some of it sometimes can be kind of hard to find. There's so many models. There's the EPA 10 model, the EPA 13. What is there, an 18 or what? No, maybe it's an EPA 17. But then there's even one after that, like an EPA 21. So this is the 10. This is the early one. So anyway, it's out there. You just got to look for it. Anyway, let me go get my other light and prop up here. And then these, I think I left last night. This one here. See how this one, let me turn this light on a brighter setting. Come on, wake up, camera. But you'll see the gap here. I did not tighten these down. These 4 here ready to tighten down. They're sitting around there nice and flush. If you get a gap like that, what it does is it hangs up on the dowel, and it won't, with that uneven pressure like that, it hangs up on the dowel on this side, and then when you try to suck it down, it won't suck down. It just breaks the bolt. So you got to just do what you're supposed to be doing there. So the flywheel is so rusted on this thing that you can't tell where the marks are. I've tried and tried and tried. I'm basically going off, the pan's still off, so I can look up there and I can see what pistons are going up to top dead center. All the rockers are torqued, the 50 newton meters and the 90 degrees as well. But I just had to sit there, and I finally gave up trying to take the emery cloth, and you only got a spot in there about that big to stick the emery cloth, you know, and you polish it a little bit, and I just finally said, man, I'm just gonna look at the pistons, look up through the hole of the flashlight as I'm turning it, and see which ones are at top dead center, and watch them when they first start coming back down, then go back the other way just a little bit to get them on top dead center. And then I went off valve overlap. So number 4 is at valve overlap, and number 3 is ready to adjust. So that's what we got to do. Intake's 20 and exhaust is 28. Okay. And 28 on exhaust. Come on now. I'm not sure. The guy that had the truck before Clark did. He must have been running back east or something, because man, I'll tell you, there's a lot of rusted stuff on this thing. Okay, so I know, so 1,536. So number 6, if I get to the right spot, number 6 will be on top dead center. 1,53624. Number 6 should be on the next one, and then so number 1 should be on overlap. Let me get in there and start rotating. Okay, so both are tight on number 1, so that means it's an overlap. And number 6 is loose. That means it's ready to adjust. So tight. So I'm installing the unit pumps right now, and just show you kind of the way I like to do this. I don't really care how they come out. There's a lot of spring tension on these, and so if the cam is on the right position, it'll pop out of there. I don't like to force them in. I don't like pulling them in. I just always get nervous about something getting in a bind and breaking. So what I do is I lube up my O-rings, and I get the new one. I don't really care, like I say, how the old one comes out. It's going back for a core anyway. So I slide the new one in there, and it might take me a couple trips underneath the truck. Actually, this one's not too bad. It's only maybe a quarter inch away. I'll pull that in. I'm not worried about that. But when the cam's in the right position, they'll set up that high, the flange will, and I don't like pulling them in that far. It's a lot of tension on that. It's a big old spring in there. So I guess what I'm saying is just be careful with them. What I do is I just get around underneath the truck there, and I rotate the engine. And this one here, actually, with all this shit out of the way, I got a wrench. My ratchet's right up there. I was actually grabbing it on the crankshaft right here and turning it by hand there. And then I was just watching it, and then when the cam got to the right position, it'd fall down on there, and then I'd put the bolts in it. So just food for thought there. Well, guys, so just kind of show you where we're at. All the unit pumps have been changed. The new fuel lines are on and torqued down. Those have a special torque sequence too. Everything on these things is torque angle. So anyway, what I have done here, I'll come over here in the dark. I moved my light over here, but anyway, I changed the thermostat housing. I still got to change the water pump. I still got to change the oil pump, which is not really that big of a deal. I'm kind of wondering, my hammer fell overboard here. Don't even see where in the hell it went. Thought it would have been right here close somewhere. Huh, where is that hammer at? I don't know for certain. Anyway, I had stuff sitting on the valve cover there. I got the starter out of it. See, the next thing, let's look up in this gaggle of shit here. I wanted to try to get this hose off of here without damaging it. Oh, looks like it's too late. Yep, it's already got a hole in it, so I guess I'll just cut it off, and I guess I better get a hold of Tom right now. And what is that? It's got to be a coolant line. At least it's just a rubber hose, but there's going to be one on the back too. So let me call him and get that hose coming. I don't know, is there enough hose that I could just slip it? There might be enough, but I'm gonna call him and see if I can get one anyway. So what we got to do next is thinking about taking this transfer pump off the, I'm gonna unbolt this from the fuel rail right here because it's just right smack in the way. And then I got to get down in here and take the lines off the transfer pump. And I was wondering, I wonder if I can get the bolts out of the, because the power steering pump and the transfer pump are piggybacked off the back of the air compressor. I just wonder if I can just get and just leave the transfer pump on the back and just take, that's what that's what I got to do. I want to pull them off as an assembly, because you can't, I'm not certain on the EPA 13s and the newer ones, the fuel filter module sits right here, and you cannot, trust me, I tried, you cannot get the power steering pump with all the other pumps on there off as an assembly. You have to disassemble. You have to get the power steering pump and transfer pump off the back of the compressor and then pull the compressor out. It just won't go. Well, what am I saying? No, the last one I did was Kevin's, and I tried to get the off first past it. Then I pulled the fuel filter module off. Then I still couldn't get it out of there, and I ended up pulling the transfer pump and power steering pump off the back of the air compressor, and then I could get the compressor out. It was a pain in the ass. Anyway, the reason we decided to do this, because we knew we were going to have a lot of this stuff off over here anyway, so let's do it while we're here. You know, these Wabco compressors are notorious from this back bearing failing and taking the gear train out in the back of the engine. So anyway, yeah, let me get my ducks in a row here. We still got to pull this Allen plug. You can't even really see it. There's an Allen plug. Then you take a 10mm N10 bolt and you thread into that feed tube. It feeds the oil to the compressor, and then you pop that out of there. So we still got to do that. This one's actually, it's sticking above the frame rail where I can actually get an Allen wrench on it. Kevin's was below the frame rail on that 389, and it was kind of a bear trying to get an Allen wrench in there to get on it to get it loose. So, all right, let me call Tom and see if he's got a hose for that. Well, guys, I think I'm ready to start cranking on it. I got these Paccars are son of a gun to get started, especially the EPA 10s with unit pumps. So I got the discharge line off the compressor, because with the discharge line on there, it's right up against this, and you can't even use the priming pump hardly. It's just really, really stupid. See if I can. Okay, well, got the battery charger on it too. I was just trying to save the batteries as much as I can. Be a little bit proactive on it, hopefully. It's a little bit low on coolant, so I'm gonna have a light there. Where's the oil pressure gauge at? Right there. Let it do its clickety clackety click 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 of everything. Got a good even crank. She's trying. I know the Paccar, it's going to kick me out on the start thing, so I'm just going to let off before it does it. Let me pump on this and prime on it some more. and we'll just wait a little while, let everything settle down, and we'll try it again. I just know these Paccars, that's the way they are. That damn start on there will kick out, and you'll have to wait forever for that thing to come back online before you can get it started. I'm just gonna pump on this thing for a while. Try to help it as much as I possibly can. And then I'll wait a couple of minutes. Let everything in the starter cool down, and then we'll try it again. And once I get it started, I'll just shut it right back off, I think, and put the discharge line back on the compressor. I'm probably going to run it just a little while and then pull the valve cover off and make damn sure there's oil on top. Alright guys, I'm just going to wait a couple minutes and then I'll be back with you. Okay, let's see what happens here now. Click, click, click. Oil pressure gauge is up. Okay, she's trying. I'm gonna crank, prime on it some more. Okay, it's nice seeing that oil pressure gauge come up. Let me turn the light off on my head here. She's trying. Pressure 80 psi. I like that. Good oil pressure. It's starting to smooth out. Okay, well, I think I can probably put the discharge line on the compressor. Got any oil leaks anywhere that you can see? Okay, let's put the discharge line back on the compressor now that we've got it primed up to where she'll run. There. Okay, where is my... I had a big crescent wrench here somewhere. Where in the heck? Oh, there it is. Alrighty. It's gonna smoke a little bit. I don't have the exhaust hooked up where it goes into the after treatment system, so it's gonna smoke a little bit. It's almost like a deleted engine right now, so. nuts on there that I got to put back on here, but I'll do that here in a little bit. Let's just see if the new compressor builds air. Fuel system. Coolant level's low. I got the suspension dropped on it. Starting to come up. Yeah, I don't have the air cleaner and stuff on the intake side of the turbo, so she'll whistle a little bit. Well, I'll start tidying things up, try to get this thing done. Now we're sitting here at 1500 RPM, trying to get the water temp up, get it up to operating temperature, check things out. Got the dipstick out, no blow by, none at all. Me talking, she had to come over here and see what was going on. Oil pressure, I mean, it's going to drop a little bit once the oil gets hot and thinned out. We'll see if we need to add water to it. It'd pretty much be like a new engine. I mean, everything, water pump, oil pump, coolant, thermostat housing, thermostat, new pistons, liners, head. What else? All the fuel lines, injectors, unit pumps. I was gonna try to get it wrapped up today, but by the time I get it outside, it's already 5 o'clock. By the time I get it out the door and everything, it's gonna be, you know, dark. So I'll come back tomorrow and put the hood on it. I'm gonna let her sit here and run, put her up to operating temp first, and then let it idle and check the oil pressure at idle. Make sure she comes up to temp real good, thermostat opens and all that good stuff. So far so good. Nothing leaking on the ground. But I can tell. Only 148 degrees of water temp. Mop the idle up and try to get it. Actually, at 150 degrees, what's the oil pressure at? Almost 50 psi idling. Having trouble getting it to warm up. It's a new thermostat in there, but I'm just going to sit here and let her run for a while and periodically check it. Uh-oh, what's that? Probably should figure that out, huh? Unplugged and the check engine light's not even on. I don't understand that. We're almost at 172 degrees. We're at 40 psi idling. Pretty good. Okay, and the fan should kind of come to a stop. There it is. Let's just see how she starts after we know we got the air out of the fuel system now. Well, there's my crew over there waiting for me to get done. Say, Dad, can we go home before dark for one night? What are you chewing on, shitbird? What are you chewing on? I know it's not good for you, whatever you're chewing on. Anyway, I got an air leak here up on this air shutoff line. I got to fix that. Right there. We'll fix that. I got one of those fittings in the truck. But so far so good. Pretty happy. Just got a couple other things I need to button up, and then tomorrow morning I'll come over here and we'll throw the hood on it. Anyways, I'll let you know what happens on this.